Scortasini per Nedved, Pirlo, la conclusione in rete, Andrea Pirlo, un gol pazzesco! Del Piero, gol! Alex Del Piero! Palla di Pogacar, Pogba, rete, un gol incredibile! Pogba fa esplodere lo Juventus Stadium!
Welcome, everybody, to Turin Giants, episode 293. Closing in on 300, Farhad. You got to be proud. Our post-Roma analysis match. My name is Zach. I'm joined here, of course, by Farhad, the man that started it all, and our good friend, Damiano. Damiano, how you doing?
Pretty good. How you guys doing?
Doing well. We're going to talk about that. We're going to be talking about how we feel about today's match. But of course, we're coming after you post Roma, the 1-1 draw to bring our draws again, even with our wins at 14. Obviously, before that, for those who are relatively new to the podcast, welcome. We love all of our listeners. Please give us a follow and a like. Instagram at Turin Giants, YouTube at Turin Giants official. A 5-star rating, of course, at Spotify is greatly appreciated. As well, stay tuned. We're doing some updates to our website, turingiants.com. If you're watching on video, which you can on both YouTube and Spotify, we have an example of one of our really cool stickers available there attached.
I love the size of it.
It's not really that big. It's just in front of my face, so perspective makes it seem like it's massive. It's not.
Oh my god! No, it's not big, but it's not your head size big. No. It just looks hilarious because he's just screaming at you. That's what I see.
Talk better or something. It's great. It's a really cool. Obviously, Del Piero for those watching sticker. So we're making some updates to the website. But stay tuned, turngiants.com for not only cool stickers like the merch, but also some of the shirts that we've been demoing. But housekeeping now done. I want to get into the match. It's kind of late for all of us right now, so I don't want this to be too long. We're tired. But we have to talk about this one. It was the match we all circled in the Tudor sort of beginning run. A very informed Roma who hasn't lost in forever, it seems like, in Rome. And so we want to break it down for y'all here today. I want to start with the starting lineups. I think a lot of us were curious on whether we be tweaks. Certainly, we got some surprises in the last game. Nico Gonzalez coming in at a wing back. Damiano, what did you see today that you were surprised with? Was there anything that you liked? Anything that you were disappointed in today's starting lineup?
I mean, Vlahovic is obviously starting as a little bit of a disappointment, especially after his kind of poor performance as of most of the season. However, I did, put away and McKinney on the wings. I thought it was pretty interesting. We came out hot. You know what I mean? We came out, with Nico and Kenan behind Vlahovic. We came out we played a freaking solid first half. I was pretty impressed with that two doors layout there. So I think just Vlahovic was the main one I really didn't opposed of more than anything.
Farhad.
Yes, sir.
Is the Dusan inclusion more of a product, in your opinion, of course, more of a product of a coach believing in a player or a coach trying to instill confidence in a struggling player?
I think someone came up to Tudor and said, listen, we're trying to make money here. You can't bench this guy. We need some evidence that he's sellable. And I don't know. People prefer to see Colomwani starting just for the footballing factor. But I can totally see how it's embarrassing on a club benching and not playing and not starting such a commodity as Vlahovic, because teams are watching. They certainly need something to go off of. But if that is in fact true, then we failed once again.
But do you think the money we could salvage, maybe getting Dusan a couple million more if he performs well, is more beneficial than us getting top four?
Absolutely not. It's
then why play him? You know, if that's
I
if you
totally,
if it's,
I'm with you. I'm with you, and that's what I'm saying. You know, someone's just trying to save face, and that is unfortunate.
I get
We
yeah.
suffer today. I mean, you saw our WhatsApp chats about Vlahovic again, and the second worst thing I saw today was the new Captain America movie. That was just. That was the Vlahovic of movies. I'll tell you guys later, but yeah, don't waste your time. But yeah, Vlahovic not starting upset a lot of people, including me.
Yeah, I think that I see it solely, not economically at all, because that economically doesn't make sense. I see it solely as a coach who's trying to back an out of form striker to say, I believe in you, hoping that the striker comes good. Clearly, that has not happened in the two games we've seen, though. I think, and we'll kind of get into it with you, Farhad. For much of the first half, he seemed a little bit more tidy on the ball, a little bit more involved in play in a positive sense than what we've seen for much of this season. And maybe not just focusing on Vlahovic, though I definitely would like your take on that, looking more holistically at our performance in this first half. As Damiano said, we were dominant, weren't we?
I mean, we were definitely dominant. Oh, sorry.
No, I didn't know who the
Farhad.
question was. Me.
Sorry,
oh,
my
okay.
bad.
You saw me giddy in our chat and some other Juve chats. We're finally going out there and being scrappy. Overall, I know we'll mention that, but the game was enjoyable. I know you in our pre-podcast chat mentioned that second half you didn't enjoy, and I still kind of did. First one, of course, by it was minute 20, I want to say, either minute 20 or 12. I have it written down on my phone. I just don't want to waste listeners' time. We had 85% possession. That was a big thing about the first half.
Yeah, 15, roughly 15-minute mark.
15-minute mark, having 85%. And I mentioned in our chats that it wasn't just possession for possession's sake. It was actually driving down the middle. A lot less back passes that you would see in Motta's team. Just we were back, and from the comments that I've been seeing from people that I've been talking to, it was an enjoyable game. We finally saw some kind of heart from Juve, and like you mentioned, going into playing against Roma, who've been in such great form. 1-1, not a terrible result. Am I right?
Well, we'll talk about that at the end. Before we get there, though, just looking at that first half again, really dominant play. Farhad, who on our team do you think was the engine behind sort of that progressive passing and play that you saw?
I like Turam. Changed my opinion about my guy, right? I just like how he doesn't shy away from a challenge. But you guys did such an amazing job, and please, if you're a new listener, go back a couple of episodes and listen to our podcast. You guys mentioned Yildiz, and thanks for taking my question on a podcast. First time listener. Long time listener, first time caller. Really enjoyed hearing my name on the podcast. I was giddy. But Yildiz, man, I mean, every time this guy touches the ball, he creates magic. There's always, if you're lucky, as a football fan, on your team, there's a player who creates magic. When he's on the ball, you can't take your eyes off of him. And I feel like Yildiz last couple of games has been electric. Again, one of those guys who doesn't shy away from the challenge. He just magically manages to squeeze the ball in between the legs or something. Something interesting happens every time he's on the ball. I liked what Nico Gonzalez was doing today. Shame he didn't score. It would have been a beautiful. I love me a good header ball, but this, the keeper just showed brilliance. So
it was a great save. Absolutely great
so
save.
Nico Gonzalez
all around.
Nico Gonzalez with Yildiz next to him and Turam. I really enjoyed that. I would say they were the three cylinders.
I think my question was probing. I think looking for a Yildiz response, because in these two games, he seems to be more so than anybody, in my opinion, unlocked by Tudor's style. The same question to you, Damiano. Who did you think really was, maybe somebody who Farhad missed, core to that, maybe even also on the defensive side, core to how we played that first half?
Well, I was gonna say I think it was actually more of like instead of like like finding the passing. I think it was more the off the ball movement was really fluid, and the players were running into open spaces, and that opened up for anybody to really, make plays and kind of move the ball forward. I mean, Viega was good passer, and he had some good moments too. But I mean, I feel like to kind of start to get the thing going, but in all, I think it was more off the ball movement that really opened things up for us and everybody was pretty much looking pretty good passing wise. I felt like from what I recall.
And
I completely agree.
I was about to turn it to you, Farhad, because you've railed against pointless possession, and I think would you not agree with you was saying that the off the ball movement is really what will driving in a lot of ways, not only Juventus but any team that has really good progressive passing, isn't off the ball movement like step one?
Yeah, well, that's what Marquisio has always been famous for, kind of like in the shadows, but his movements were excellent. I agree, because the spaces were opening up. The game wasn't what's the right way to pronounce it? Stagnant, right?
Yeah.
Players were moving around. I really enjoyed the movement off the ball. You're right. I love the possession that meant something, instead of needlessly, passing the ball back and forth. It was interesting to see the movement. It's kind of disappointed in McKennie. I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but all the good plays that we mentioned, he did have a great pass to Vea, and I know we'll get into it. I know we missed something. Zach, I want to hear your opinion on the starting lineup. We wanted to talk about, the inclusion of Dusan. We talked about that. What about Koopmeiners finally getting benched?
I think it was necessary. The last time we talked, or the last game that we talked about, we still saw the same player that we saw under Mota, a player lacking confidence, a player lacking sort of definition in how he was playing the game. And so I don't think he deserved a starting spot. I would have been shocked if he had been in the starting lineup. And so it was good to see him being on the bench. I think that's an important message to send.
But did you feel like he changed anything after
when he came on?
in?
I was about to say I was surprised he came on at all. Truthfully, and so and he certainly showed effort, but similar to when Dusan shows effort, it didn't amount to much, unfortunately for him. But that's kind of, and we're going to talk a little bit about the second half performance, because there were some definite chances in the first half, but we seem to be lacking those in the second. Before we get to the lacking chances in the second, we have to talk about the goal.
Absolutely. I love a goal breakdown.
Yeah, a beautiful build-up play that led to a dangerous cross in the box that was defended well from Roma. Big looping header comes out, and then off the volley down into the ground, and ultimately in the lower corner from Locatelli of all people. Damiano, what was your take?
Oh, when I was watching that thing, it was beautiful. Like that whole play from the beginning was actually not bad. I mean, even from, I believe Dusan kind of got the ball and dished it off to McKennie. I was a little.
Are we not going to mention that
possession? I mean, you have to. I mean, it's kind of it was a nice play straight from the get-go. You saw it open up.
I know you guys talked about it on the last podcast. The Dusan assist, the accidental was hilarious, and he continues with it in this game, right?
But the thing is with Dusan is, like, on one hand, I do not believe on just piling on about players, right? And so I try to regulate myself on him. But to some extent, are we applauding him for doing like the basics that any professional footballer should be to do in this type of thing? Like, don't get me wrong.
I was being facetious. I'm exactly.
I'm not going to hate him on that at all, right? We needed that. It was part of it. Then you get to McKennie, to Kalulu, to the cross, dangerous position, so on. Locatelli volley. But whenever we talk about Dusan doing something well, aren't we just basically saying, in other words, he did the bare minimum of what you would expect a professional footballer to do?
I mean,
I think
totally.
it's just I think it's just
I-
curious how hard he fell off. Is that should be studied, as they say, right?
I
Now we're
was
just
shocked he
making
didn't lose
fun
the
of it,
ball.
right?
You know.
Anyway, going back to the goal, right?
Yes, Damiano. Damiano. Okay, so the head up, the volley in. I mean, what before he struck it? Where did you think that ball was going?
Actually, when I saw that like kind of bounce to him, and I saw him wind or like fall to him, and he tried volleying it. If he made, I was like, man, if he make it was, I was just the whole thing opened up, and I just was I was ecstatic. I was jumping up and down. I was like, man, that was a bomba. I was like, man, that was awesome. The way he hit that down into the ground, right? It was pretty awesome. It was great.
That was sweet, especially how many people were standing in
He-
front of the ball. He needed that. Locatelli.
did.
I
He
loved
connected.
seeing him celebrating with pointing to the badge, and yeah, certainly a much needed goal. It was one of those games that I was watching with my son. He was so into it. He was jumping up and down. Yeah, the vibes were good in our household for sure.
As important as, and this is going to kind of round out the first half, I think, and then we'll move to the second in the interest of keeping this a crisp episode.
Crispy.
As important as Locatelli's goal obviously was, how important was Kalulu's defensive interventions?
You took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to try to interrupt you, Zach, and say that because I wanted to bring up Kalulu as well. So continue, please do.
Well, go. No, I was going to turn it to you.
Oh, I mean, I have notes here, and literally that was one block where I don't think Di Gregorio was going to get to it, and
Nope.
Kalulu
24th minute. That was the 24th minute.
Yeah, and I mean, I got effing great block, exclamation point. I think he made another defensive play, not too much after that. I think before
29th.
Gonzalez.
Yep.
And I mean, and his runs, he was playing up and he was making nice runs.
Yep.
And I think that's what kind of opened up to get McKennie dished it to him, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
and so I mean, and he was pushing up. I thought first half he played great. I mean, I honestly loved it. I loved it. I thought he played great.
I think he's back to form. It's safe to say.
His defense was solid in the first half in particular.
And I think one thing I think indisputable about him is he's very comfortable on the ball. I think his passing, his control, whether it be short passing, long passing, crossing. He did have one bad cross that I saw, but that's me nitpicking. I think in general his ball play was fantastic in possession and passing and crossing and so forth. Punctuated by his participation in the goal and as well on the defensive side. You're stopping their goal scoring chances and then facilitating possession out. So shout outs to him. But that's the first half. We talked domination. We talked good performances. We talked a goal. Damiano, second half. You've talked ever since you joined the podcast about your frustrations with Motta's led Juventus coming out stale in the second half, not with the right fire, conceding a goal, and offering nothing in attack. Is that not what we saw today?
I think we played a decent second half with the exception of one play. I think that corner where we decided to go to sleep for a quick second and not just freeze and ball watch. And that's why I was saying Kalulu in the first half had a great game. That goal, I think
That was his mistake.
He is standing there. I mean, he is just standing there like frozen, and Di Gregorio made a nice save. And I mean, I was hoping the guy would, the Roma player would shank it over the crossbar, but he didn't. He got it right.
Shomurodov, yeah, it went from possibly the worst miss of the season to a goal.
Yeah, well, or defensive. I mean, we cannot be just sitting there ball watching like that, just stuck like that. I mean, that one slip up cost us 2 points in reality.
But at the same, and I don't disagree with you, but within the context of a game, you do over the course of a season, you're going to let in corner kicks and free kicks. That just sometimes happens. Sometimes the roll of the dice is against you because those types of free kick scenarios oftentimes are, kind of a toss up. And so in the 49th minute, I'm not stressed. We have in essence 40 plus minutes to get a goal back. And did you feel at any point after that we were genuinely threatening? except for one play, McKennie's terrible shot in the 89th minute. I mean, other than that one opportunity, I didn't feel really any threat from us from a goal scoring perspective after they equalized. Farhad, did you?
I think Ranieri made some correct decisions as far as, talking about two different halves and coaches making different decisions. I feel like he changed the formation a little bit where it became a little compact, so we couldn't go into these spaces and run around the pitch just as easy as we did in the first half. So that being said, I feel like they just shut us down really well. And at some point, I feel like the teams just agreed to a draw. Like it was fine for both teams. I know, it's not Juve, and I, uh, shouldn't be saying that, but let's just agree,
Well,
draw was kind of fitting for both teams.
Before we
And
get that far, Farhad, you touched on something actually that I think we need to dissect. Coach adaptations. I felt like Ranieri was very proactive, even starting at halftime, making a substitution. One thing that Tudor's been criticized before in previous jobs is how he's managed substitutions. So what did we see? We didn't see our first substitution to the 68th minute. With triple sub, Colomani, Cambiasso, Coop on, Wea, Nico, Dusan off. Then in the 75th minute, Savona on for Locatelli off. And then I don't think he made one after that, at least not in my notes. So 4 subs, 3 in the 68th, which involved bringing Coop on, and then in the 75th, bringing Savona on for Locatelli.
I mean, there's your answer.
Damiano.
Right there.
Yeah. What was your take on that?
I thought those subs, besides Colomwani coming in for Dusan, I really, I didn't really understand. I mean, I felt like what Coop Miners didn't, and it showed. It showed we were not as threatening as we were in the first half. Even if the players, I mean, I didn't really see them being super tired. I didn't really see, I didn't see them being really tired. The players that he took off, and especially like Locatelli, I thought Locatelli still had more in him. I think that, to me, I would have rather seen Conceição instead of Coat Miners all day. I just don't.
Yeah.
I think that was a little bit of where we dropped off in the second half. I think we came out the second half, believe it or not, we came out actually pretty good, I felt, before that goal. I thought we came out, we weren't as we were a little less sharp, but not drastically. I thought we were pretty good.
I think they were just shook after the goal.
Yeah, but I mean, like, that's another 20 something minutes with, you just made those 3 subs, and bringing Coat Miners doesn't do much. Colomwani, I thought, his pressure is good, but it's like we weren't giving it enough we weren't opening it up the game like we did in the first half to get it.
We did not give, as a matter of fact, we did not give Colomwani nearly as much of the ball as we did Dusan in the first half. And so it was hard. It's hard to judge, I think, not to say that you guys did, but I don't think you can judge Colomwani's performance today when we just didn't give him the ball. And that's part of sort of my frustration is you have Colomwani in there. What we've been wanting to see him under Tudor. We've been wanting to see him with this sort of revitalized Yildiz and so forth. And we just, he had 9 touches, 9 touches, 5 passes, 5 for 5 passing, by the way. Yeah. 5 pass, 9. That's no participation really. And he seemed to want to get involved. We just couldn't get him the ball. Now you said, Damiano, that you don't think people were tired. Farhad, I'm going to turn it to you. Do you think that the team looked leggy at the end of the game, or do you think our sort of lack of attacking bite was more of a product of Tudor's substitutions disrupting the team flow?
Yeah, I think we just lost the momentum. The team looked good. Even I remember Colomwani missed someone, and he just turned on the afterburners and kind of like caught up to the player. Not sure when that was, but towards the end of the game, I remember. I don't know if they were tired. I can't tell if a player is tired, but I've seen them be laggy and just anemic in the first half under Motta. So whatever we saw today was better than we've seen in the last, 6 months. And just a shame it was a draw, because the team, I feel like they wanted a win. Finally, we see the Juve that wants a win.
Well, until as you said, they didn't. Until the sort of the unwritten agreement that we're going to go 1-1.
Yeah.
But I mean, you say that, and I guess I was going to turn to Damiano. Damiano, do you agree? I mean, we saw the chance at the 89th minute where McKennie had the ball right at the top of the box, took the unnecessary touch, and then booted it right at the defender. I mean, that was a really good chance.
It was a really
in
good
my
chance.
opinion.
Agreed.
But do
That
you think
was it.
other than that, Damiano, do you agree that the teams kind of looked more like they were settling for a draw later in the game?
I think yes and no. I kind of think like, I don't know, maybe it was just me, but I thought we played pretty decent. I mean, granted, again, there were did not that first half was awesome, but even the second half, I didn't think we looked too bad. I still think we outplayed Roma. I just think we didn't for one play, and I'm more disappointed and frustrated with the fact that we only got 1 point out of this instead of 3. Because I thought we dominated the game. I thought we had the game by the horns, in my opinion.
That kind of leads to the debrief of the game. Farhad said earlier that he felt like draw was an all right result. You saying, but you're
it still
you're
hurts.
treating
Don't get me wrong.
well, the Damiano's treating it very much like 2 points dropped.
Mhm.
I guess Farhad, because you kind of said it offhandedly at the time. Let's focus on it. Do you see it more so as a 1 point gain to 2 points dropped?
Well, let's take a look at our table. Do you allow me to? First of all of the question that you've been asking, I want to hear your opinion as well. Zach, it just feels weird because we're not hearing Zach's opinion, and certainly I enjoy those.
Yeah, Farhad watched the game, but he's been at the movies, so I set this up while he was at the movies. So I wanted to host. I wanted this. I asked for it.
Did I mention don't watch the new Captain America? But I think
you
I think it's been long enough that people kind of stayed away. Man, why Harrison Ford? What's the obsession with Harrison Ford? Who is speaking of anemic, speaking of things that should be put to bed? Just Harrison Ford, you're no Hulk, dude.
Fortunately, I am hosting this episode. So Farhad, we're gonna go to talk the table. So this is where we stand. Okay. We have Inter number 1 at 68 points, 4 points behind.
By the way, dropping points.
They did, but 4 points clear of Napoli, who at 64, who play Bologna, who's in 4th tomorrow. Huge game with implications not only on the Scudetto race, but more importantly for Juventus on our top 4 odds. Tucked in between Napoli and Bologna, who again play tomorrow, is Atalanta, who drop points at 58. We are 2 points behind Atalanta in 3rd. We are at 56 points, but Lazio, who beat Atalanta, is now 1 point behind us. So between Atalanta in 3rd and Lazio in 6th, you're separated by 3 points. So it's really the top 4 race is really tightening up. If Napoli beat Bologna, which would help Juventus, then the Scudetto race will be 1 point difference. And so I think this, just taking a step back, it's a really exciting finish to the Serie A season coming up. But from a Juventus fan standpoint, it's going to be one heck of a ride. With that, okay, so with table talk done, Farhad.
Table talk, yes, sir.
Is it 2 points dropped or 1 point gained?
Oh, you're coming back. God damn it. I'm trying to get out of this question.
Nope.
Okay. Realistically speaking, it would have been bad if I'll explain that. If Roma won, they would leapfrog us. That's all I'm saying. We kind of stopped the team that's behind us from catching up. Of course, as a Juve fan, can't be happy with the draw, especially, finally we're seeing a great team. Not great. They're good. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but we're finally seeing improvements. A win would have been awesome, but it's not the end of the world. I'm just comparing our schedule to Bologna's, and
ours
I think
is
we
much
mentioned
easier. Yeah,
much easier. This was the game that we either drop points or draw. We've mentioned how strong Roma were. We have a new coach. We're playing away. it could have been a lot worse. 1 point is not so bad in the standings and kind of morally speaking.
Can I ask you guys a question?
So 1 point gained. Go ahead,
Okay.
Damiano.
Did at any point in today's game, did you guys feel we were going to lose this game?
Zach.
Did Roma really provide any like threat to beat us?
They did in the first half, where they had a couple of good chances. Kalulu, the Kalulu chances, right?
One off the bar, off the post, yeah.
El Sharawi hitting the post.
Yeah.
By the way, I had no clue he's still on the team. It's unbelievable that he's still starting for Roma, isn't it?
Yeah.
In my eyes, he's still like 24 years old.
But even with those chances in the first half, we were playing so well, Damiano, that I wasn't concerned. I'd say if we kept playing that way, we'd get one back. So I never felt that we were at risk of losing. I think, though, I'm a little bit more on your side, though, Damiano, and that's 2 points dropped. I think with the way we played, there was more on the table for us. And I think if you want my opinion on some of the questions I've been asking for, and I've been playing a little bit devil's advocate here, is I'm a little frustrated with Tudor today. Starting Vlahovic, in my opinion, with 8 games to go, counting today, you play your best 11, and he is not your best 11. And seeing all the times he was on the ball in the first half, or opportunities he had to be on the ball in the first half, and I just figured that Colomani would do a better job. You subbing in, waiting till the 68th minute when the game had gotten stale in the second half to put in subs, one of them being Coop, was, in my opinion, the bad decision. Then in the 75th minute, where you decide whether you're going for the game or not, you sub out Locatelli, who is a guy we haven't talked about today other than the goal, but had fantastic contributions on both sides, possession and defensive, and put on Savona, who hasn't played in 3 months. It was not the mark of a coach who looked like he was going for it. We didn't use the 5th sub. Where's Mbangula? Where's Conceição? You had, even Douglas Luiz back. Where could we have maybe pulled some strings? And I think he was thoroughly out-coached and managed today by Ranieri, who's an accomplished veteran coach. But I think that his decisions were not really, I think, good in helping us get that victory. And if we played as well as we did that first half with Colomani and Nadusha, I think we would have created more chances and maybe actually won this game. So I'm more so in the 2 points drop camp.
Okay. Very good. You made some great points that made me realize I was wrong. I'm just kidding. But I do want to hear your opinion. Like that last sub that was not made. That's weird. What about Savona? Who would you play there instead? Because that was a weird one to me as well. I mean, he did well considering. But I do want to hear.
Taken out Loca. I wouldn't have taken out Locatelli.
Okay, that makes sense.
So what they did is they took out Locatelli. They put McKennie into the midfield. The unfortunate thing about
already exhausted,
he gassed, and I love McKennie. His work rate, his physicality, his strength, his aerial ability, his tactical versatility. But he sometimes tries too much, and his touch is just not as good as other players. And at that stage of the game, I needed somebody with a different characteristic in the midfield, certainly in the midfield, that was going to be a little bit more of a better passer, a better facilitator. Not sure what the status is of Douglas Luiz, but if that's the case, just don't sub out Locatelli. Just don't sub him out.
Agreed.
And then
I completely forgot about Douglas Luiz.
He was back on the bench, right? I think today. If you're that concerned about the right back position, then take, which you wasn't worried about McKennie because you kept him on the pitch. So then just leave Savona on the bench in the most important game of his first 5. This is this Roma game. Why if you needed to take out Nico Gonzalez, where's Chico? Where's Mbangula? Where do they fit? We saw Chico last time. These are guys.
He was being cautious. He was being cautious. He was going for the draw. I'm telling you.
And that, let's be clear. You say he's going for the draw. That's not a Juventus manager. That's not a Juventus manager trying to get top 4. That's not a Juventus manager.
Tudor out.
Sending a
Tudor out.
signal to his
Tudor
players.
out.
No, but let's be honest with ourselves, okay? Maybe
I
he's being
agree.
maybe he's being pragmatic, okay? But let's
Mhm.
let's call it what it is. If if we're going to criticize other managers for this, let's call it out, and be fair. Say that's what Tudor was doing today. You would talk to your point. Farha. I think Tudor just at some point decided that the draw was probably a good result for this team, considering
Mhm.
where they are in his tenure and so forth. And he might not be wrong in that, but that was our coach of Juventus settling more so for a draw, I think, than necessarily going for it. Roma, with the move at halftime to switch to a 4-4-2, went for it. Okay,
Yeah.
at least with that move, and it got them the goal. So a little bit difference in how it's done, and I would have liked Tudor to show a little bit more bite in how he managed this game.
It's so funny because as you can hear from my keyboard clicking, I'm just searching for interviews, and pre-game interview, Tudor previews Roma clash. I am quoting romapress.net. He was quoted saying, "We go there to win." Juventus head coach Tudor addressed the media on the eve, blah, blah, blah. "Tomorrow's an important game, but not a decisive one. Haha. Since coming back, Ranieri has made the difference, blah, blah, blah. All matches are a test. I predict the match will be difficult. I never do the calculations. We go there to give everything we have." So maybe he was lying.
Hasn't
and
that
it's
been
not-
our issue the whole season though? With getting these draws, we're 14-14, right? Like,
Well, and that kind of comes into, again, in the interest of offering my opinion, Farhad, since I've been doing a lot of asking. The story of this
Yes, sir.
game for me was it actually, as much as I just went on my Tudor rant, was I put him up there as the second reason for our result, but really our reason for why we didn't win today, and to go into what you said, Damiano, which is tied into so much of our season, and certainly all of our draws, has been a story of missed opportunities with the final pass, whether it be the final ball, whether it be a final pass, the final cross, the final touch. We did so much good things in this first half to actually not turn it into too many good shots or legitimate scoring opportunities, because that final ball, whether it be a pass or a cross or a dribble or a touch, failed us. Too heavy here. Ran into a cul-de-sac of defenders because you took one extra touch. Kenny's chance at the end of the game, didn't need to take that touch. It was bad anyways. Ended up shooting it right at, giving the opportunity for a defender to come right up on him, and he shot it right into him. So much with this team, and when you get those crucial moments, has not been making the right pass or the right decision, whether it be technical, whether it be cohesion, because certainly some of it today included has been where the players didn't seem to be on the same page, maybe running into the same space. And that's what I think really ultimately doomed us to a draw today. All the stuff about Tudor, I stand by, but the team had the opportunities with how they were playing in that first half to, with one touch here, one touch there, they could have opened up into several clear-cut chances, and they were not able to even get to that shooting stage, which is concerning to me. It's been plaguing us all year, and I think that's what I need Tudor to work on. If we go into Roma with the way that they're playing and play the way we did today, we will be okay, as long as we can shore up the one area of our squad that has been inconsistent, and that's goal scoring. First fix is start Colomwani for the remainder of the season. The second is to work on the composure and the cohesion in the final third, so that those final balls or those final touches to set up the goal scoring opportunity are better. And that, I think, will be the difference moving forward if we can work on that and clean up our act just a little bit.
Do you mind if I read a couple of quotes? Do you mind if I hijack the show a little bit?
All right, give us a couple quotes, Farhad, but I'm going to cut you off if there's too many.
Please do. Please do. So, Tudor, we must concede fewer chances, although it must be said that today we lack the structure that the absent players like Bremer, Gatti, and Cabal would bring. However, there's still room for improvement. Locatelli said that the win would have been the most important thing, but we put in a good performance tonight. The coach asked us when he arrived to believe in ourselves. Kalulu, for me, was a very important player today. There's some bitterness about the draw, but confidence in our strength. and goals remain. We worked well during the week, concentrating on possession, on duels, and the aggressive defensive phase. So those are the quotes from the players and the coach.
Alrighty, quotes out of the way, and we're nearing the end, folks. So let's go around the horn. Man or men of the match. Damiano, kick us off. Who is your man of the match?
I mean, besides that one thing where he kind of fell asleep for a split second, which ultimately led to the draw, but nonetheless, I thought Kalulu was pretty much freaking phenomenal today, defensively, offensively. Really opened up the game for us. I loved how he was really making runs in open space, really pushing forward. I think like there were several times I saw him like, he's just gunning for it, and he's up there, with our attackers, and still comes back, and it was refreshing to see this Kalulu. Again, with that one exception of that one sleeper moment, but I thought he was pretty phenomenal otherwise.
Yeah, Kalulu, 99 touches, 94% passing accuracy, 12 passes in the final third, and 4 for 5 in long balls. Fantastic game from him. Farhad, who is your man of the match?
Same. The man with the big head, Mr. Kalulu. The way he ran around, he was like a man possessed. He was maybe that inspiration, that leader that many fans talk about not having on the pitch. He was, his head was extra big today. I truly enjoyed his a couple of game decisive stops. The mistake was there, but who was the man of the match officially, by the way?
The official man of the match.
Keeper.
No, was Locatelli, who is going to be my player of the match. First goal in seems like forever. Was absolutely second to Kalulu, crucial on the defensive front. 90% passing accuracy, 90 touches on the ball, 7 of 9 from long distance passing. He has stepped into the captaincy, I think, with a little bit of a different attitude. If his manner on the pitch is any indication, since Tudor's taken over, I've seen a little bit more from him and how he carries himself on the pitch and how he is, his energy. And I think as someone who's been calling for him to be a leader on the pitch all season, it's been really good to see. It's been really, to see him show up on the score sheet today, helping us get this, putting us up against a really hot Roma team was awesome. And he was my man of the match as well as the man of the match. All right, we talked the table. Let's kind of move on and finish up here, if that's okay, with what a few games come up. We do have what you would generally think is an easier run of games coming up, but as Juventus has proven with 14 draws, we can take literally no match for granted.
That's good, right?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's 28 points dropped, which is just.
We could have used a couple. Right? We're sitting here like
right.
We're sitting here like a bunch of jamokes counting points and what teams who we have to play, and then we're sitting on 28 points that went wasted. Gosh darn it, Mota! I hope you never find a job again. I was thinking about it today, actually. Like, is he going back to save the mid-table teams, Provinciales, or is he going to be kind of like going far away from Italy and coaching in, I don't know, Saudi Arabia or somewhere? I guess we'll see. Find out.
We'll definitely find out. I don't think. Just speaking on that, I think there are several things in his Juventus time that he could sell in an interview. Right. Okay. You lose your best player. We're undefeated till January. We were, still top 4 with all this stuff. They didn't give me the time. I'll show you what I can do with the time. I proved it at Bologna. And so I think the story
Bologna is kind of still his crowning achievement, I guess.
Well, sure.
Aren't they doing better this year? I think they're just as good as they were last year.
I haven't seen if they're doing better, but they're definitely Roma and Bologna are the 2 hottest teams in Serie A. So they also have they also are the two toughest schedules of the top teams, as well as Juventus's primary competition for top four. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them and with Mota. Let's talk the games we do have coming up. Like I prefaced, on paper, Lecce, Parma, Monza, easier. If my question to you, and we'll go to Farhad first, if we get anything less than 9 points from those 3 games, is that a failure?
Yeah, absolutely. Those are all wins, and all must wins. Especially, how many of those are at home?
2, I believe.
That shouldn't even be a question, but
Yeah,
it should be irrelevant. It's irrelevant.
it should
It's
all
2.
be 9 points.
Yeah,
Absolutely, you're in a bind. Like this is it. Your Champions League spot. Like every time I think about not getting the Champions League spot, the scenario gets doomer and gloomier. And no, you have to win them. There's no question about it.
These are 16th, 17th, and 20th.
Oh my God!
Of the, and here you go. You ready
Definitely
for this?
should
Are you
win.
ready for this stat? Are you ready for this stat?
Yeah.
Of the 4 teams in Serie A who've conceded 50 or more goals, those are 3 of the 4.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so
I'll go as far as saying winning is not enough. It should be like
put on the hurt. Yeah.
it should be a spanking.
So Damiano, do you agree? 9 points plus a couple spankings.
I think from here on out, every game's a must win. I think we need to take all 3 points from every single game ahead of us. Especially after dropping 2 points today. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, might be a little bit negative, but that's my vibe. I think that we don't have room to drop any more points the rest of the season.
Now maybe I'll turn this to Farhad, because me and Damiano have talked about this a bunch. But so we're playing these quote unquote easier teams. They concede a lot of goals.
Quote unquote, they are easier teams. But
well, we've been hurt a lot
yeah.
this year. So we'll just say quote. We'll leave the quotes there for now. These teams bleed goals. 2 of those games are at home.
Mm-hmm.
Do you start Dusan to try to see if he can get back into form, or do you just bail on the Dusan project?
You have to understand, I don't start Dusan. Tudor doesn't start Dusan. The guy with a briefcase that comes in with Agent Smith sunglasses, he starts Dusan because he's trying to make some money. I am the conspiracy guy. No, you don't, of course, but unless someone says it, unless Tudor is a guy who's taking advice from the management. Sometimes there's these coaches that I think Allegri was like that, just like kind of go with the flow of the management.
No, Allegri was very much a company man, right? I mean,
yeah, you absolutely don't start
right?
Vlahovic. I mean, don't start him. Bring him in on the 65th through 70th minute. Don't start him, please. We need to be up 2-0 before we give him a chance to make a little money and sell himself and his highlight reel.
I see his stock plummeting the more he gets on the pitch and starts these games. To be honest, whoever comes in with that briefcase, I think they're did they not realize that the stock is dropping? And
it gives me no joy, because if you saw his highlights at Fiorentina, something happened. It just maybe the pressure of playing for Juve, but his highlights were amazing. He was scoring free kicks, he was scoring from outside the box, headers, and these goals were so fun and spontaneous. It's a shame that it came to this, man.
Yeah. Okay. So no Dusan starting. We'll of course bring you all of the post game content after those games. And Farhad, are we doing another fun midweek episode this week?
I'm trying to put together an episode on Tuesday, which if you guys want to know a little behind the scenes, the reason Zach is running this is because we need fresh blood, new blood, something different. So he's been doing these post-game episodes really well. You guys have been enjoying great. I mean, I'm deleting messages towards Zach, all the love. I'm like, nope, he doesn't need to see that. I'm just kidding. Yeah, but there's a lot of love towards Zach, and I love doing this podcast. It's just I love doing the episodes that have less to do with the games and the tactics and the current events. I love Juve beyond the pitch. So I'm trying to put together an episode on Tuesday with Uncle Gio. We'll find a couple more people. Maybe we will have a live episode as well. So yes, Tuesday afternoon we will probably have late afternoon we'll probably have a new podcast. Yes.
And we got a lot of really good feedback from our last midweek episode. The previous one, episode 292. We welcome back our good friend Luigi, who shared his personal story about going to the Notts County games. Obviously, Notts County having a deep connection with Juventus. His interview with the BBC, as well as answering a lot of fun and I think
you guys had a great Q&A
questions.
Q&A session was so fun. I listened to it all the way from work. Great stuff. I think we shall do more of these, listener Q&As, because people love hearing their names on the podcast. I've always said so. Anyone welcome to DM us with a question.
Screw hearing my name. When I've submitted questions, I want to hear the answer. And I think that's one of the coolest things is when we get questions from y'all, the listeners. It helps us engage with you. I think that's the most fun. Like when Farhad goes,
it's no fun doing a show without an audience, man.
Exactly. But part of the reason you love to go hang out with with the Chicago club, Juve club members is just to engage with and to talk about the team that we're passionate about. So keep the questions coming, y'all. Again, Instagram, Turin Giants have a lot of good content there, and Farhad's really active in logging questions as well as responding. And stay tuned for that midweek episode, y'all. Between now and then, have a lovely night. We'll talk to you soon. We are out.
Thanks, boys and girls.
In the middle of a railroad track, moved around, and I knew there was no turning back. My mind raced, and I thought, what could I do? And I knew there was no help from you. Sound of the drums beating my heart. The thunder of guns tore me apart. You've been thunderstruck.
Hey.